Good morning, Willard Wildcats. Happy Tuesday, September 8th. We have some birthdays to celebrate today. Happy birthday to Finn D. Happy birthday to David E. And happy birthday to Michael G. We hope you all have wonderful birthdays on this Tuesday, September 8th. As you know, this month we're celebrating the IB attitudes of curiosity and creativity. And the IB learner profile characteristic that we are developing is to be an inquirer, to ask questions. So today, I thought this was a really fun book from an author that you know, Chris Van Dusen. He came to Willard a while back, and if you're new to Willard, then I want to introduce this author to you if you don't already know him. This book is called A Camping Spree with Mr. McGee. It's very creative, and you might have some questions along the way, or it might make you ask questions about camping in the future. Let's see. Oh, and it's even dedicated by the author because I borrowed it from the library. It says, "For all my friends at Willard, a camping spree with Mr. McGee." Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. McGee and his little dog Dee packed up the camper and hitched up the load, hopped in the Rambler, and then hit the road. They drove to the mountains far from the sea for 2 nights of camping, or possibly 3. I'm wondering what you're curious about. What questions do you have? "There's nothing like camping," said Mr. McGee. "I know you will love it. Just wait and see. The views are fantastic. There's hardly a sound. Aside from the wildlife, there's no one around. The air is so sweet, you'll sleep like a log," said Mr. McGee to his small spotted dog. Are you wondering where they are? Are you wondering if it's a real place? Maybe it's pretend. A few hours later, they took a sharp right and found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful view of Mount St. Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson too. But perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over a steep waterfall. Dee gathered pine cones and branches and logs. McGee made a campfire and cooked some hot dogs. And as the sun set behind the far distant knolls, they sat roasting marshmallows over the coals. See that? As the embers went out, they felt tired and dozy, so they climbed in their bunk beds, all comfy and cozy. But while they were falling asleep without care, along came a stumbling, bumbling bear. A kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear. He couldn't see far and he couldn't see near, but he could smell marshmallows, sticky and sweet. The smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. Look at that bear. Do you see that bear? I wonder what questions you have. Are you thinking? Are you wondering what the bear is going to look for? He sniffed out a place where the marshmallows lay, but the car and the camper were in the bear's way. Yet that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing right under the hitch, and he was shimmying into the gap. He pushed up the hitch and let go with a snap. What do you think is going to happen now? They're going to be in for quite the surprise, aren't they? Now that camper and car were untied, they started to roll down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away on the old logging road while the camper was heading to where the stream flowed. It flew down the hill in a wild, bumpy ride with Dee and McGee sleeping soundly inside. It's headed down the hill. You think they're going to be surprised when they wake up? They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream, when a splash went the camper right into the stream. All because the bear accidentally untied it when it was trying to squeeze between the car and the camper. The splash shook the camper. They bumped out of bed. Now what in the world was that, McGee said. And when he looked out and saw where they were, his hair stood on end, and so did Dee's fur. They were caught in the rapids, but that wasn't all. They were headed smack dab for the big waterfall. Dee and McGee both started to quiver as faster and faster they headed down river. But just when they thought they'd fall over the edge, do you see the edge of the water there? Their camper got stuck on a rock on the ledge. So there they were, stranded, McGee and his pup, on top of a waterfall, 50 feet up. Dun, 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 right? Do you feel the excitement building in the story? Let's see what happens. Meanwhile, that nearsighted bear from before was searching for one little marshmallow more, when lo and behold, as if out of a dream, he spied something sweet floating over the stream. But what the bear thought was a marshmallow treat was really the hitch and not something to eat. Do you see what he thought was a marshmallow? It's just the hitch where the trailer hooks onto the car. The bear was determined to capture his prize, so he jumped in the water right up to his thighs. He splashed through the stream to the edge of the fall and snatched up the trailer hitch, camper and all. What's going to happen? Maybe. Dee felt a tug. McGee heard a knock as the bear pulled the camper right off the rock. He dragged them both all the way back to the bank. When he realized the hitch was not sweet, but quite rank. That means not tasty. He spit out the hitch and left in dismay, while McGee and Dee's camper rolled away. It flew down the path with a jolt and a jar, and stopped in some bushes right next to the car. Dee popped her head out. McGee looked out. Had they really stopped rolling? Could it be true? At last things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and drove off down the hill. On the way home, McGee said to Dee, "That trip wasn't quite like I thought it would be." So when they got home with the sky turning red, they decided to camp in the backyard instead. Did you like that? I thought that was a really fun story. Wildcats, remember, we are safe, respectful, and responsible. Have a wonderful day.